Hello everybody and welcome to another custom card design challenge. This is our 5th one of these on the channel. We've done 4 of these before with different challenges we do in our Discord. You can find a link to those in the video description. For how this works is I pose a unique challenge for our Discord viewers, our viewers and our Discord members to make a card around, and then we read the cards and award a crown for our favorite. Notably, though, your guys' support has been insane, because in the first one we had like 10. In the second one we had 15. In this one, and Design 5 and 6, we had 32 entries. So rather than like us talk for, because like we can't give like good amount of time to a card if there was 32. Like so I cut it down to 16 for this, because you know we actually want to like talk about the cards more than just saying this is cool and like go to the next one. However, on our Patreon, which you can find a link in the description, I'm going to be talking about the cards that weren't included here as well. But these are the 16 that I got from the list. So we're going to be talking about them, awarding our crowns. And then if you want to join for future one of these, there's currently some going on in our Discord right now. You can find a link in the description as well. Come join in, design a card, and maybe we'll talk about it on the channel. The challenge for this one was something that Travis actually proposed, because it's something that Travis has always wanted to see explored in design space, which is design a card that utilizes physical or mental trauma as a cost. Right off the bat, I tried to include in my 16 deciding factors here were cards that cards that weren't part of like a permanent, which is as a cost to put into your deck, take a trauma. I tried to not include those in here. There are some that did make it through, but like the ones that were actually like, for example, an event or an asset or like a skill got some higher priority, because I think that's a little bit more interesting of a design space for us to talk about regarding this. So we're gonna go in and
that's on you, really.
It's my fault.
we're gonna go in, talk about the cards, and then award some crowns. First one here from oh my god, the transition is a book right now, because this used to be from the yearbook video.
That's fine.
Cut. Oh, back to the beginning. All right, here we go. Astute Dunsparce. This is a 1-cost 3 experience event. It's an insight and a spirit. It's from Seeker and Survivor. Campaign mode only. Take 1 mental trauma, then place 1 clue from the token bank on your location. If your location's shroud value is 4 or more, place 1 clue from the token bank on your investigator card instead. This counts as discovering a clue for card effects, Exile, Outer Notion.
That's kind of neat.
It's kind of neat. I'm not sure it's worth the 1 mental trauma, because you have to pay 3 experience for it, and it gets exiled as well. That's a little tough.
Yeah, but then it's worth buying Deja Vu.
It's just Deja Vu support.
Yeah,
that's all.
We'll print a bunch of unplayable cards.
Yeah, like I like this one because I think the idea of it is really nice. I think the balance of it is a little bit off. Like it could either be like 1 experience and like still be the same, or like 2 experience but it's like free and fast, right? And like kind of go with that. But I think the idea of it, just like a clue for free, because you're going to use this on a 4-shroud location, is a powerful effect, because it also doesn't even need to come from that location.
Put this in your hunch deck. Just show up like suicide is bad.
I'm going crazy and I don't care.
The flavor on this one's really nice too. Like, some external force is giving you insight into your current situation, which is what's happening. That explains why the clue is coming from the token bank instead of from the location or anything like that.
Also, why it's a little bit traumatizing too, right? You know, because you're like it has that
brain damage.
It has that like feel of Arkham, where it was like before it became like really pulpy with this, and it's like, oh, it's still kind of scary to do these spells and stuff like that. I think it's a cool card.
Good. Let's
go on to our next one here, which is Soul Binding. This is a 2-cost 2 experience event designed by OT. It's a spell cursed pact, fast. Play after a non-elite enemy at your location is defeated. Take 1 direct damage and suffer 1 physical trauma. Add that enemy to the victory display and attach this card to it. You get plus X fist, where X is the attached enemy's combat value, and you get plus Y foot, where Y is the attached enemy's evade value.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, real good against mindless dancers. Because the first one's just like, now the rest of them don't matter anymore.
Yeah, you just like, I am the mindless dancer, like I consumed it. Yeah.
I feel like this should probably cost a little more experience, probably 3 or 4, considering that you also get to remove an enemy from the scenario for
That's fair.
the entire scenario.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful effect. Again, like Brent said, with the mindless dancers, they're a lot less scary when there's only 2 of them instead of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're also a lot less scary when their fight is effectively 0.
Yeah. I think the flavor of it's really sick. You know, like you're like the trauma also I think is really cool. Like it fits really well, and like the damage as well. So it's like damage. So you're taking the damage and the trauma on top. So you're like that's an additional cost as well. I think the whole thing's really sweet, and I think the flavor is really fun. I agree. I think it should probably cost a little bit more on experience, or if not experience, because like to keep it in off purple, like make it cost like 4 or 5 resources, right?
Yeah.
But because I mean, like I understand, like I mean, or like 2 and exceptional, so that like only one of them, and then like you could still have like a guardian, like off guardian.
Cards like this, I don't necessarily think need to be exceptional to have the 1 copy in your deck, because if you're doing this multiple times for the scenario, you're going down the drain real fast.
Oh, I meant exceptional, not so much for the one, do it more than once, but rather for the experience. Yeah.
Okay.
But
they could also.
I wish there was like an exceptional that wasn't exceptional. You know, like this costs twice the listed cost.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping them from saying this costs 2 additional experience to purchase.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the text box, besides running out of space, which we almost have here.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one.
Sweet. All right, next one we got here is from Atomic Z. This is a 0 cost 3 experience event in the Survivor class. Hold them back. Spirit Tactic. As initial cost to play this card, take 1 physical or mental trauma fast. Play when the enemy phase would begin. Skip that phase, then remove Hold them back from the game.
Yes, they remembered. They remembered to remove from the game.
Yeah, so you always get bonus points from Travis for that one. It's like a very powerful effect, and just like especially in Survivor.
Yeah.
Just like resourcefulness back. Yeah.
Don't mind if I do. Last year of the game, now we're just not gonna. You're not gonna play.
Yeah. Yeah, because actually in the last scenario of the game, who cares about physical or mental trauma? Which I actually like going back to the previous one. I think that was a nice to be aware of that, like taking the damage, because in the last scenario, you actually have to like. The trauma actually does matter, right? With this one, the last scenario, it doesn't.
I'm not going to hold out against people too hard, I think, because it's very rare you get physical or mental trauma in a scenario. So I think most people aren't aware of the rule that it doesn't immediately give you a damage or a horror.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I guess, I also, less holding against other people, more like bonus, like a bonus to that.
No, that was a nice, you know the rules. Good job, buddy. This one.
Honestly, for this one, for me, I think it's pretty appropriately costed. 3 experience seems good. Mental trauma, the trauma, physical or mental, also seems pretty fair for it. Because I think you also don't use this unless, like, it's like the panic button. Like, okay, we're going to win this turn, but let's just, like, stop this enemy phase.
Yeah.
Or, like, I'm going to die. How about we just don't, and maybe we can win instead. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like dying, but you get to pick which trauma you take.
Yeah, and you don't die, yeah.
You get another round out of it to, like, just hold those enemies there so they can't hunt your teammates.
Yeah, like the stopping hunter is insane. Yeah.
No, I think that one's pretty well designed, too.
I dig it. Thumbs up for Bryn. Wow, that's how you know it's good. Bryn's usually here. He's... Yeah. All right, next one we got from Akanos. This is a 1 cost 5 experience event in the Mystic class. It's a spirit in a pack called Otherworldly Incantation. As initial cost to play Otherworldly Incantation, suffer 1 mental trauma. Search your collection for a non-exceptional spell or ritual asset or event and play it, paying its cost. It does not remain in your deck after the game ends. With the flavor text, any price is right.
That's a level 5 spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, according to Bob Barker, it's not any, like, no, it's like there's one.
Yeah, there's one price.
One exact price.
And you can't go over,
Yeah, don't do that.
I like this one quite a bit, I think. You're probably going to find some level 5.
Yeah, just something.
Yeah, it is a cool way to make use of, like, high experience spells and or rituals that you don't normally want to play with, because they're too situational.
Yeah. I also could see this working really well in, like, specifically, like, a support mystic, where, like, you know, like, you're, like, keeping people alive, so you're keeping yourself alive, and just every scenario, you're, like, you draw this card, and you're, like, what should I find? Like, what helps the board state the most right now, you know? Because it can be, like, a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't necessarily need to be a 5 experience card to get the value out of it. Like, it is probably going to be quite a bit.
No, like, I imagine most of the time use on this card is going to be like, hey, so what if we didn't have a red token in the bag this turn?
Yeah.
Like, let's
Yeah.
not do that.
Yeah.
But also has the possibility to do many other things.
Yeah.
I might like that a little bit just for ease of play. If it said that when you purchased it, you added 5 spell or rituals.
Oh, like
or
making like a
stuff or whatever.
sideboard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
bonded cards, and then you search your bonded cards for them instead of having to search your entire collection, because that could be very overwhelming and slow down play a lot. But that's a pretty minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. I think most people would just bring a pile of the cards that they intend to look through.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the art for this one. It's a
Yeah.
good find.
There's actually an Elder Sign on it too, which is
Yeah.
kind of sick. Yeah.
It's very thematic for what the card does.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's sweet.
Yeah, Elder Signs quite frequently shows up on high level cards, so good catch on that one.
Also smart to just like, I like the 2 wilds too. So like if you don't need anything, it's just here's something, right?
I think I would like it more as Brain Wild.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a high level mystic card. They typically have brain symbols and not usually. Don't
What if we
just
went-
have a pile of
What if we do
wild
Brain
cards?
Wild? Go
Yeah,
nuts.
we can do that too.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, can we do Brain Wild? You didn't let me finish. All right, let's go to our next one here, which is by Beard. This is the Mark of Yagditha, a mote of living energy. It's a 3 experience permanent, limit 1 per deck pact. When you purchase it, suffer 1 physical or mental trauma, and as a reaction, after you resolve an effect on a mystic card that triggers when a non-curse, non-bless revealed, or reverse those is revealed, draw a card, limit once per phase.
I mean, that seems pretty fair, I think.
I like seeing mystic card draw.
Yeah, and like being a permanent, obviously very strong, but I think the effect does not outweigh the cost. Like we're not. Well, I gotta buy one of these from my
Yeah.
deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially the physical, it being specifically physical trauma is a great choice, I think, because most
They're
mystics
mostly
have
bad at
a
that.
like 5 or 6 health, and
Yeah.
that's a real cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid one.
I also do like it too that it doesn't necessarily, like, obviously, like in Sixth Sense, like you're like digging for it to do it. It's a nice thing on that, but it's also not terrible to like mitigate some of the downside. Like if you're playing Rite of Seeking, you don't care, right? So you're just like, hey, and if you're playing Shriveling, you're gonna take horror. Why not get some card draw on top of it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like works for like the entire spell package. So you don't like worry about it, right? It's not like specifically one thing. It's obviously better when you're fishing for it with like Sixth Sense or something, but not the worst otherwise.
I might have liked it a little bit more if instead of just triggering on non-blast, non-curse token, it triggered on a non-blast, non-curse symbol, because that's a little bit more in line with purple spell flavor. But I guess if you did that, it wouldn't work for like Azure Flame and Clairvoyance, Ineffable Truth, because they trigger on the plus ones
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well, and
That's
the
fun.
0, I think.
Yeah. Plus, yeah.
So I'm not sure how highly he would value that, but I understand why it says token.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, I also do like. I mean, this was designed, I think, after the new stuff with like Spectre Razor, the upgraded versions come out, but it also works with that, which I think is kind of fun, because
great use of the pact
Yeah.
subtype.
yeah,
You
definitely.
did it.
All right, next one here we got from Derby K. This is Force of Will. This is a 3 experience skill, commits for a wild spell spirit. As additional cost to commit Force of Will to a skill test, discard a spell card from your hand, take a damage and a physical trauma. This test automatically succeeds, trigger your Elder Sign ability twice.
That's kind of sick.
I also felt I had to include this one because it's like
Yeah.
a perfect Force of Will.
It is
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it draws a lot of very nice parallels to the magic card, while also being specific to this game.
And also what I really like too is that there's Seal of the Seventh, not Seal of the Elder Sign, which is 2 experience more, but you don't have to do any other hoops to jump through. You only get 1 Elder Sign, but you're paying like you don't have to do anything else for it. So I think it's still actually pretty appropriate for its experience cost too.
I think that Seal the Elder Sign also triggers symbols because you pretend that you drew the Elder Sign. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah.
And this wouldn't. You just get to succeed, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
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 Play this with like 100 Jenny. 200.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
matter
dude,
what
I
we're
mean,
doing
honestly,
anyway,
just
but-
even like you bring this to like you have like a Will or like a Will York or a Silas on your team, or like a parallel Skids, and just be like, here you go, have fun. You know, I'm gonna kill myself for you.
This one feels a little bit like you should only be able to commit to your test.
I think that's I don't disagree with that at all.
It's
but-
hard to justify like your force of will pushing someone else through a test,
Yeah.
but it's not quite on theme.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do like the 3 experience. I think as a like so the effect feels kind of like a 4 or 5 experience effect, but the 3 experience is more justifiable with the heavy cost to commit it.
Yes. Yeah.
Having to discard a card, take damage, and a physical trauma.
I agree, and I think that's actually something that, because I always pay attention to the threads and read people thought. I think that their comments on it, and I think a lot of people actually like the trauma was a tough thing for a lot of people to balance. Like, what is it worth? And I think ultimately, it's worth like an experience point and a half. We see that by In the Thick of It, right? Like generally, it's like an experience point. So I think that being, I think this feels like a 4, but a 3, it's perfectly fair because of that, right?
Yeah. Great choice on the spirit subtyping. It seems like it is a card that would go not a long ways, but a ways to making Calvin more interesting to play.
Definitely.
And can Hank play this? Or is
Yep.
he,
Yeah. No, he's 0-2.
He's 0-2? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to our next one here, which is Spirit Shield by Tasty Toast. This is a 2 experience asset. It's a spirit. It's permanent from the Survivor class. As a reaction, when you take any amount of damage in a horror, take 1. I'm going to assume that's it's health or sanity trauma. I'm going to assume that's physical or mental trauma instead, then exile this card. As an action, for each trauma you have, draw and discard a card from your hand.
That's pretty neat. It's a very unique take on how to both accumulate trauma and use it as a resource.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say I expect better from Tasty Toast than like no artwork and like a typo in,
Yeah.
in the text box. I do.
It's not typo.
This
templating
is
error.
Templating
yeah.
error.
This is a big like not mad, just disappointed parent. Yeah. Or like
I
the teacher
expect,
scolding you. Yeah, it's like I expect better
I've
of
seen.
you.
Yeah. It's like turning in your essay and the teacher's like, really?
Yeah.
Like I've seen better out of you this year.
Yeah. And then and I'm married to a teacher. It's because they care.
Yeah. Like I have seen better out of you this year. Tasty Toast.
Yeah. All that aside, I do think
Otherwise, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think it's neat because like with Deja Vu, there's a reason to like buy it back right after it's exiled, because then you like took some trauma, so now the card is actually like better, right?
Yeah.
One thing that I think is a little bit unfortunate about this card is I would have a very difficult time not justifying in any deck that could play this, taking In the Thick of It to purchase this.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And you just have like insane card draw from the start, from scenario 1.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, you basically
That's really more In the Thick of It's fault than
this.
cards.
But it's just true because like basically you can see for 1 less action you can see an additional 2 cards in your mulligan, right? For your first action, yeah. Like you can just like that, but you can do that like for all those. You can basically just like sculpt
every
it.
action.
Yeah.
That should probably be once per turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like if the reaction effect is forced, then we're probably looking at like.
So it has to happen.
Like we're not just jamming this. Because it's
going to add up.
It might not be good.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe we lost it last scenario and we don't want it this one. But like we'll grab it again going into the back.
Yeah, and you can also use
3.
it to. It is just an extended mulligan rather than I guess for lots of Survivor investigators, you care about having things in your discard pile, so that's nice. But it is an extended mulligan rather than just being card draw for the entire scenario.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, but see us after class, Tasty Toast. All right, next one here we got from Frumpy7848. This is Uncontrollable Rage, a level 0 asset. It's a condition. Permanent, limit 1 per deck, purchase a deck creation. Forced, whenever you reveal an autofill symbol during a skill test, cancel that token and suffer 1 mental trauma. The hardest part is living with what you've done. That is actually, I mean, it is true.
Like the effect is super strong, but I think it might be a little bit of a steep price. Because, like, how many autofails are you going to reveal in a scenario? Like,
if it's me, you can't talk to me. I reveal so many.
Like, it's probably, like, 1.5, maybe?
Yeah.
So you're probably just dead by scenario 4.
Yeah. I think this one would be nice if you removed it from the game. Or
yeah. It gets rid of the first
game after you've triggered the forced ability, but I'm not sure how you do that with permanent.
It's probably the same. You probably still just remove it from the game.
I think you can still. Yeah, I think you can still remove it from the game.
Remove from the game is just remove from the game, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know.
You could kind of get around. It might also be neat to like have it start in play instead of as a permanent.
Yeah.
Just have it say you begin the scenario with this card, or at the start of the scenario as a reaction, search your deck for this and put it in play or something.
Yeah. Or just like force this card starts in play.
Yeah, or permanent that puts a bonded card into play at the start of the game.
Yeah. It is a cool concept.
That does this.
Because I do think it is like, in that point, to cancel like the first autofail for 1 trauma, that becomes a little bit more palatable than having to like potentially take multiple, right?
Just eat it in one scenario. You get unlucky and you just die.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very surprised to see a level 0 mental trauma or trauma card here.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah, and I also I chose this one as well because it's a level 0 permanent, but it's not a cost to put it into your deck. It has an effect in the gameplay that actually makes trauma a cost, which I think is really nice from Frumpy.
Yeah.
All right, next one here we got from Mr. Potterson. 0 cost event, Another Way Out. This is a Spirit Fortune in the Guardian and Survivor class. Fast, play when you have been defeated by damage or horror and only if there's a scenario card with a Resign ability in play. As additional cost to play this card, suffer 1 mental or physical trauma. Attach this card to another player's location and that location gains action, Resign, there is another way out.
That's pretty cool. I feel like it should maybe be Guardian or Survivor and Rogue card.
Yeah, I think,
Because resigning things is usually a Rogue thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's not like selfish, so maybe that's why they didn't do Rogue.
That's kind of what I thought. Because you're helping your teammates more so than helping yourself.
Yeah.
But it's a neat design, actually.
I like it because it is very dependent, but like it's the fun kind of stuff that it then makes a story where like suddenly it's the reason you don't lose a scenario, right? Or like that someone else doesn't die.
I think the template on this one's a little bit off. Play only when you would be defeated by damage. Well, maybe not. I don't see. Maybe it was supposed. I guess it doesn't
like you still get defeated, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No.
So it doesn't get you out of the asylum. There is no other way.
Yeah.
Make no mistake.
And I like the thing too, where like the idea is that you take an additional trauma off your defeat trauma to make it sure that someone else doesn't.
Yeah, which is probably why this is Guardian, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a cool card for sure, though.
Yeah, there's some neat stuff I bet you can do with that, where you just hang out at the like the actual. Oh, no, only cares if it's in play. Yeah, you just don't have to care.
Yeah. You play this in like a Preston deck with cheat death, and you're just like, I am going to die.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Cheat death doesn't work the way that I want it to, does it?
No, it never does.
It's really good for.
They can put in brackets at the end. This
Doom
works with cheat death. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doom of Etzley? Oh, yeah.
Really good for that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I like the flavor of that too. It's like, just another door comes up. It's like, oh, I'll go this way.
Or the
Yeah.
catacombs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
You
Just.
no, it's fine, guys. I'll just walk into this spike trap or whatever. You can leave.
Yeah.
Oh, we can just walk across them. There's a door over there. Nice.
Thank God William York turned into goo so we could leave. Yeah. All right. Next one we got here is from Philip45, who
Yeah,
did their own art,
This
which
is-
is like, yeah.
That's some high quality effort, man.
Yeah. So, and also they have they signed him for the
Yeah, they
illustrator, as they should have. Yeah, as they should have. Yeah.
Take credit for your art, man.
All right. So this is a one experience survivor skill. It's the Gambit trait. Commits for 2 wild. If this test fails, the performing investigator attempts that test again with this skill already committed. Max 10 times per round. When this test succeeds, take a physical or mental trauma.
I'm not sure if this is good or not. I think it's very. I'm kind of hung up on the max 10 per round. That's very amusing.
Yeah.
Whatever
Like,
it takes 10 times, though. I can't go over 10. Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, the 10 times per round probably doesn't need to exist because taking 10 physical and or mental trauma is like...
No, you don't take one each time you try.
Do you not?
No, it's
you
only
don't
when
do
it
these- when it
succeeds. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's way
Yeah,
less
just
cool.
taking 10, yeah, for
It's way
each
less
time you
cool.
try the test.
I think that could probably be like 5 maybe for one experience, but because you take the physical trauma, the performing investigator should take the physical or mental trauma. Which I understand why it doesn't, because you can grief your teammates pretty good with it, but
I mean, like, yeah, but that's not on, I think that's not on the card. Like, that should
No.
fall on the
yeah,
player than
if
the
you,
card,
if
right?
people are
Yeah.
doing that to you, you should find better people to play with.
Or ask, is it April Fool's Day and are we griefing each other?
Yeah.
This one kind of also, like, kind of lives in this, like, this card could read, and there must be a reason, like, there's gotta be something you can do that someone wiser than me can figure out, but, like, this test ultimately could just read, like, commit to a test, take a physical or mental trauma, the test automatically succeeds, right?
It
But-
does have additional use in Survivor, where
If
if
you
you things
fail-
that care about the things you fail,
Yeah.
you could fail. Like there's that one card that's they take an action for each action they failed or something.
That actually does seem. I mean, also, yeah, because if you fail, you could also trigger like a, it's an auto fail. I mean, it's okay. We haven't like a oops 2 or a looks what I found. We can
Yeah.
do some stuff here
You
with
can
too.
trigger all those off of it.
That's okay. Yeah, no. But I mean, like this is ultimately just kind of like an analysis or the strong armed, right? Which is just a cost to auto succeed a test, or like the curse one in Rogue. I forget the name of that one.
Justify the means.
Justify the means, yeah. Like it's basically one of those. So I think like realistically, it fits, and I think one experience is probably fine because
Yep.
I think like this and that 0 would probably be
It'd be absurd at 0.
yeah. And also, hell yeah! Once again, I want to see this art on the card, and I like that it's a goblin too, probably. Yeah.
That's just probably like Conan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's part of the Smithos, sort of.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah. There's the Lovecrafter stuff. You know,
Concussion Smith
Yeah. Yeah.
is the author, yeah.
All right.
Almost.
Let's see what the next one
I mean,
is.
almost.
What?
I mean, almost.
Well, like, Conan the Barbarian is like
Oh,
Robert whatever his
Oh,
name is.
Robert.
Yeah, but I think it has like the
I don't know.
It has
I could
the-
be wrong. I could be wrong.
Clark Ashton stuff in it, right? Yeah.
okay.
Has a little bit of everything.
But it does have like they've got like snake people.
Yes.
And
And,
whatever.
and then I think there even is some like references to ancient ones
It's-
too.
Yeah, like it is always if the story isn't vaguely Lovecraftian, then it's not really Conan, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Like,
I should check out some Conan.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I mean,
Conan's sweet.
we got Okrai here with Summon Ghoul. This is a 2-cost event. It's a ritual summon illicit. As additional cost to purchase this card, suffer 1 mental trauma. As additional cost to play this card, take 1 damage. Search your bonded cards for Soulbound Ghoul and put into play your location. Soulbound Ghoul is this cute little guy with his accordion. He's a humanoid monster ghoul summon. It's aloof. As a lightning bolt limit once per round, you may move this enemy to a connecting location, and you may target another enemy at this card's location. If you do, they deal their damage and horror to each other, and the horror street is damaged. So basically, like your soulbound ghoul is going to fight people for you. At least that's
pretty
how.
cool.
Yeah, I
It's
read.
kind of neat.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't be a weakness, but
They say that the mark of a gentleman is someone who knows how to play the accordion but chooses not to. So this guy, nah.
No, not a gentleman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just like a guy.
he's a ghoul.
yeah.
I do like the necromancer flavor. That's neat. I'm curious of why this is a weakness as opposed to something
like
akin to the little guy from Scarlet Keys.
Summon Servitor.
Yeah, that guy.
Just like an asset that goes into play type thing.
I guess it's so it has health.
Yeah.
It has to be a weakness to be included in your investigator deck.
Yeah, maybe.
It can't just be an enemy card.
But I mean, it is bonded, right? I think you could, even if it was just an asset, it could still be there as a bonded like thing like that. I think as well. I think this card would. I think it would be a little bit more interesting. I like it. I like the concepts. Like, this is like just me. Like, what would take it the next level for me to go also with the theme? If it wasn't the cost to purchase, but cost to play, and then Ghoul Boy got beefed up a little bit.
Yep.
I think that would just be a little bit more
It's
fun.
a level 0 card though.
Yeah, and maybe an experience version that changes into that.
I can also see like there being other cards that do similar things.
Oh, it would be fun if it was like the frickin' rod and there was like a random ghoul. So you got like a different ghoul that showed up. And it's just like, rise my minion. And it's just like, oh shit, I got the skinny one. You can't fucking do anything.
You summon the skeleton, just like a little rat or whatever.
Is this all they had?
What am I supposed to do with this? Yeah. Yeah. And I also like the art that was chosen for this one too. I think the art's really sick.
It's a neat concept though. I like
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next one we got up here is from Denary. This is Test of Endurance, a 2-experience survivor event. It's not a skill. It's a dilemma and a spirit. Max 2 dilemma per round campaign mode only. Revelation, you must decide. Choose one. Suffer 1 mental trauma and take 1 direct horror, then draw 5 cards or gain 5 resources or any combination thereof. Suffer 1 physical trauma and take 1 direct damage, then during the next upkeep phase, you take 3 actions as if it were your turn. Upkeep phase.
That's cool.
Yeah, you get to ready all your shit and
Yeah, and then go again.
yeah.
I like this as a dilemma because I actually think you'll... I mean, maybe you won't make a choice. Maybe you just like, I'll do the opposite what I did last time, you know? Like maybe it'll come to that and there is less of a choice.
Do, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have all the cards and resources you need and you need to just do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this should cost probably more than 2 experience. These are very powerful effects, especially if you're just purchasing them for the last scenario or 2.
Yeah. Yeah, bringing it to the last scenario. I mean, it does at least deal the direct... This one even gets more bonus points because it is direct as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it is true. I mean, like, if we compare it to Nothing Left to Lose, that's 3. But you get to, like, choose when to do it, and there's no trauma associated. Is there really an action one that matches in Survivor, though? I don't really think so.
Not really. I do think this should probably remove itself from the game, though.
Probably, yeah.
Because doing this and then going to your upkeep phase and resourcefully it back during one of your actions is really, really good.
It never ends, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
don't
during
you only get to do this when you draw it?
You do, but then you
Like,
can...
If you return to your hand, it's like drawing it.
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah, because you draw it with resourceful, yeah.
That's not how those words work.
Big
but okay.
trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, what would happen with them? You return them to your hand.
Put it in your hand and leave it there forever.
Sick.
I mean, I would like that.
You can like discard it to
Hilarious.
like you're cornered or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I like it.
I don't know.
Yeah. I do think that's fair. This probably, like, once again, it's a survivor card that, you know, is a very powerful effect. Probably removing it is always safer.
I think it would also probably benefit from taking the actions just when you draw it.
I agree.
Instead of saying the next upkeep phase, that's a little bit ambiguous. So I draw this during the upkeep. Do I take them now? No, because it's the next upkeep phase. I have to remember that I get 3 actions in the next upkeep phase for the entire turn cycle.
Yes. Yes, sir.
I don't want to do that. I'm going to forget.
Yeah. I know I would forget.
I mean, like it could also just be templated like beginning of Mythos or end of Mythos or
yeah.
whatever.
Or even like at the
a
start of the
very
investigation
similar
phase too. I think that would...
I think it
Like
should just be when you draw it.
I think so
Because
too.
either
Yeah.
you draw it during your turn and you get the actions then, or you draw it during the upkeep phase, which seems to be the intended time that you take those actions.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, you just get them during the upkeep phase, I guess. Which probably won't break anything.
I mean, I also think that it could stay at 2, but if it was like it took 1 mental trauma, but then take 2 direct of one of them, also just to like
Yeah.
make it sit there, because I don't know. I think it's cool though, but I also just like dilemmas don't vibe with me.
You heard it here, folks. Justin hates catch at East Bank.
I do.
She's okay. She's not great, but she's okay.
Yeah. All right, what's our next card here? We got from Cameron D. This is Tying Up Loose Ends. This is a 0-cost event.
Is that guy the loose end? Because he's getting tied up, I think.
Yeah, he is. It's a spirit. Fast. Play during a lightning bolt window. Add this card to the victory display. Force. When the game ends, you suffer 1 physical trauma. Then choose a revealed location. Remove all clues from that location and defeat each non-elite enemy at that location.
Yeah, I don't like this one. Mostly because it's just like I'll see you in hell, but better in every possible way.
Yeah.
Not every possible way, but...
Okay. Yes, you're right. You cannot commit it for a 2-punch.
No,
See that?
you can play I'll see you in hell halfway through a scenario to kill a bunch of guys so your teammates don't have to worry about them anymore.
Yeah,
this doesn't actually remove them from it doesn't get rid of them until they're done the scenario.
Yeah, basically this one exists to like give you a victory, right? Like you're trading a victory for trauma. But I don't know how like
it's a
exciting that is.
convoluted survivor experience acceleration thing. I don't think you're ever going to get the most victory enemies are elite.
Most of them are. At least they are now. They weren't earlier on. They were just guys like us.
Yeah.
Just slobs.
Yeah. Just strangers on the bus.
It might do to say you put it in the... It shouldn't commit for anything.
I agree. Yeah, it should be like
Delta
it delves deep, end of the road, just like that card that is dead for the majority of it.
And Survivor has ways to discard them anyway.
Yep.
And you should probably say to treat each enemy at that location as if they were in the victory display for counting experience or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't put them in the victory display unless that doesn't count as defeating them.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's some weird rules. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just print whatever you want on the card and then tell people how it works.
That is the...
That's how you do it.
That is how you do it. All right. Next one here, we got from Dozens of Donuts. This is a 1-cost event in the Rogue class. This is Knife in the Back. It's a tactic and illicit. Fast. This is a cost to play Knife in the Back. Choose an investigator allocation to take 1 physical trauma. Search your deck for a melee asset and put it into play under the control of the chosen investigator at no cost. Shuffle your deck. Remove Knife in the Back from the game.
So this is like a neat effect, but... And you have a machete, bro? No problem. You could just put it in my fucking hand, bro.
Yeah, like this knife is not going in. It's going in his kidney.
That's a dead man.
Yeah, being pedantic. Like, he's gonna bleed to death in a couple of minutes. It's okay.
Maybe it would be if when an investigator at your location takes damage from an attack, then you can play it.
Oh man, though this would be so funny. Travis would be like, "Can you solve this?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." Here you go.
I actually can. Well, actually, you have to solve it now because it's...
Anyway, it's your turn now.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a little bit more griefing, but I feel like this card has like that on it. But I wish that like the control of it went still under you. You find a weapon, you just stabbed your friend in the process. You're like, oh, it's here from you. It was here the whole time.
That'd be such a miserable
play experience.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, like most of the time, realistically, you're gonna use this on yourself. Search out your weapon. It's like an extra card that you keep, and then you're like, I stabbed myself with a knife, and now here's my knife. I'm Tony Morgan. I have 8 red remaining.
Why do you need to stab yourself with a knife? You just have it.
Have you ever played Soul Calibur?
Yeah.
No.
It's like Yoshimitsu. He has a move at the end of his combo where he stabs through his stomach to hit the guy, and it deals massive damage to them, but only a little bit of damage to him. It makes the weapon stronger.
Yeah, it does make the weapon better.
That doesn't make a lot of sense because he's like most of the force is going to his body.
Yeah,
but his blood is like poison or something.
Yeah, probably. No, Yoshimitsu's sick as hell though. He can use his sword as a helicopter and he can fly across the map.
Can we talk about the back card, please? very cool, Justin. Yeah, I don't understand. So from a mechanical standpoint, this is a fair cost.
Yeah.
From a flavor standpoint, this card does not make much sense.
I like the idea of taking the damage and then just being like, here's a sledgehammer, I found it in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
After I
actually...
hit
The
you.
knife in the back is actually just the stab from your teammate, and it's like, here you go, here's this thing unrelated.
This makes sense if you play it after someone took that. Maybe it didn't do trauma, you took damage from an attack. Because, you know, the guy stabbed you with...
I mean,
you search for a non-unique melee asset. He's stabbing with a knife. Here's the knife.
I do agree as well. I think that if this wasn't part of, like, if you actually removed it from this challenge and just changed it to, like, after an investigator location takes one or more damage,
It'd be a really neat card.
I think it would be a really cool card. So, like, I think the design's really neat, and I think you did fit the challenge nicely, but flavorly, it's a little bit fun. It is fun, though. We already had a bunch of good jokes with it. So. All right. On to this card from Julia. This is Blood Sacrifice, a 1-cost, 2-experience event in the Mystic class. Pact, Ritual, Spell, Occult. It's exceptional. As social cost to play the Blood Sacrifice, either take 1 physical trauma or 2 direct damage and 1 mental trauma. Parlay, choose up to 2 assets you control, place charges on those assets equal to their use's X value, and remove Blood Sacrifice from the game.
That's a lot of stuff for recharge.
Yeah, I think... before, like, there's that new card that just came out in Hemlock Vale that just is like 2 curse tokens and you charge and you can use. I think this, if it was like 1 physical trauma to charge 2 assets, I think before that would be a lot more appealing at like 2 experience.
Yeah.
I think the exceptional probably pushed this a bit too much on the cost. But I think even if it was just like 2 experience, play, take a physical trauma, charge 2 assets, is still pretty good, I think.
Why is my blood not as good or like better than David Renfield's blood?
That is true.
Like,
It's not a sacrifice if you're killing David Renfield, because...
it is because we're married.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, actually, like, if
I now inherit his estate.
If you take that direct damage on the second one, the 2 direct damage, and just turn it into 2 damage, and you're actually sacrificing David Renfield, I think now we're talking 2, right?
Yeah.
If that wasn't direct damage.
That's why this doesn't need to be... It either doesn't need to be exceptional or it doesn't need to be removed from the game. It also probably shouldn't be a spell. It should just be a pact, ritual. Occult's fine too. And to go back to something that we were talking about in a different video today. This is the kind of card that I think I would like to see printed as this doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity rather than parlay. This makes no sense as a parlay flavorfully to me.
Yep.
There's a point that I was going to make in that video but didn't because we were on like character 1 and we had a lot of video left to record. I think I wouldn't mind seeing more parlays, but only when they're in the context of making
like
sense
talking with
of
someone,
talking with someone or bartering with someone.
That's this though. You're bartering with some sort of eldritch power.
You're not bartering. You're paying a price,
which is the
It's
end
not
result
It's not a parlay.
of bartering.
It's not parlaying.
I mean, if it's Azathoth, no.
It's hard to me to justify as a ritual and also a parlay for the parlay is pretty obviously here to
Not provoke
attacks of opportunity.
Yeah.
That doesn't make much sense to me flavorfully where you're going to do this fancy ritual, you draw your blood circles on the ground, all the enemies are just going to stand around and watch you.
No, this is so that you can put extra resources on your Eldritch Tongue.
Isn't
That's a parlay.
It's not good enough reason. I don't like it.
It does actually technically do that. But I mean, I agree
like
too.
it.
I feel like there should be there should have been a word like fast on stuff like that that's just like doesn't take an action but doesn't provoke tax opportunity.
It does take an action, but doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of using this to put like charges on your gun. Like they don't do anything. But...
Yeah, you actually technically could, right? You could put 4 charges on your gun.
They're just hanging out. You're like, I don't know. Maybe you gotta spend them for a thing.
Yeah.
But you get to put 6 of them on your Thompson, because...
Why not?
You can, yeah.
Fuck it.
Was it why you have 12 bullets? You're like, nah.
No, I got 6 bullets and 6 magic juice on it. Yeah.
Does the magic juice do shooty things? No.
No, it's just here
just
for
my
fun.
blood.
Yeah.
It's actually, I've just been bleeding on this for a while.
Yeah. All right, next one we got here is actually the last one. So this is an unidentified card in the Seeker class.
like
So we got
those.
3 cards. Trauma Therapy. This is from Aurel Delac. Unidentified. Talent, Science, Spirit. Campaign mode only. Limit 1 per investigator. As initial cost to play this card, you must suffer 1 mental trauma. It's a 2-cost asset. Forced. After Trauma Therapy enters play in your campaign log, mark 1 therapy advancement. Then, if you have 3 or more therapy advancement, record that you've identified the source of your trauma. As an action, spend 1 resource and exhaust Trauma Therapy. Parlay. Heal 2 Horror. The upgraded version, we have Examining Fragilities. So this is after it enters play, you may suffer 1 mental trauma. As an action, spend 1 resource and exhaust Trauma Therapy Parlay. Choose an all enemy or location and gains -X health to a minimum of 1 until the end of the round, where X is your mental traumas. We have the Recognizing Context, which is exhaust it. Move up to X clues from connecting locations to your location or vice versa, where X is your mental traumas. And then we got Moving Forward, which is move up to X times. An investigator location may move up to X time, where X is your mental trauma.
Yeah, it's probably like a good thing for monetization of videos where we play this game that this isn't a real card, because like we would be making way too many penis jokes about it. Like,
I was gonna say I actually like the art on this card because
it's sweet.
I think that the artists shy away from body horror a little too much, which is a very common theme in the mythos. To actually talk about this card though, that most of it is neat. Except for that last line, really. The spend 1 resource and exhaust a parlay, heal 2 horror. First, so I don't think this should parlay, and not for thematic reasons. It's just too good.
How is therapy not parlay?
It's just you're parlaying with the enemies.
No, with the therapist who is small and lives behind your eye. Probably.
I said it's
don't
not for
know.
flavor reasons, for balance reasons.
I mean,
Also, like spending 1 resource and an action to heal 2 horror every turn is insane.
it's insane.
At level 0.
No.
That is like
That's not that
that is
strong.
beyond broken.
I also agree because for very similar reasons, not so much as like the broken thing, because I do agree it is very powerful, but mostly just because this card should have a risk, and the risk is that you're saving up for the advanced versions of him.
Yeah.
But it being a way to mitigate that risk, I think, is just like a little bit too soft, right? Like it makes the card less interesting that it can solve its own problem, rather than like the risk of going into the payoff. Because then I think like the
we could do a
payoffs.
whole video about that, Justin, about how cards that are the engine and also the payoff are like horrible designs.
Yeah. And it is, right? Because like the thing is, like these are they're very cheap on the experience, but I think they're all fair because they deal with trauma. But like, it makes so soft on the first part because of that. I like the upgrades because I especially like the one that reduces the enemy's health. I think they're all actually like powerful effects, right? Like moving clues or reducing enemy health by your trauma is all very cool and flavorful. But I do think that the level 0 version should not have a way to heal, just because I think it takes the risk out of this to balance the fact that these are only 2 experience when you level them up.
I do like the health reduction one. I think that the clue moving one is way too good as well. 'Cause how many it's like 2 turns you just shovel all the clues off to victory location.
I assume these cards are yellow.
They are yellow.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brent's colorblind, right? Yeah.
it's probably
There's a little globe up. In the corner.
yeah. No, you're right. So
And
that's like probably an appropriate
I
power
feel
level.
like the movement one should only benefit you and not some
well,
of your location.
You're scaring them away. Going, blah, 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 blah,
Well,
you know?
it's your therapy. How's your therapy gonna help other people? move
Oh,
forward?
because you start talking about your problems at them,
they
and they're
won't.
like, I have to be somewhere else.
I would like to see it more. Only you get to move, but maybe you don't engage enemies while you're moving or something like that.
And I'm also down for like I think these cards would still be good if they like maybe like this one could have parlay. Like I think the flavor is there, interacting with the enemy, reducing their thing. Like, hey, why don't we talk about this? But I think the other ones could just like not have the parlay on it as well.
Yeah, but then how are you supposed to play it in Alessandra?
That is true.
Every card needs to be playable in Alessandra now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gun.
Yeah.
Parley.
I like this one though. I
do think it's a cool
I think like
design.
these points are like kind of just to like I think
They could just put flavor text on it that says parlay, and that'd be good enough.
it's true.
we're a little sandy about the grizzled ruling.
Yeah.
On account.
But luckily we don't have to follow it. It's not in the
FAQ.
FAQ, right? We don't have to.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Sweet. All right. That is the last card. So I'll show you guys them again, and you guys can give out your crowns.
Cool. It's the one with the guy with the nipple piercing.
What?
I don't remember.
It's the one where you soulbind an enemy to your guy.
Oh, this one. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Just your video's getting demonetized.
I don't know why. It's so funny. Just that's so funny to me. It is a nipple piercing. Yeah.
Nipple.
Yeah. So Brandon, this one's your crown for OT.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think this one's really cool.
No, that's very good.
I'll keep going.
Especially because it doesn't actually make your brain better. So, like, as a purple investigator, it's like I am as strong as that guy was, but
I'm still.
What am I gonna do with it?
Yeah, that is true.
I think that's neat.
All right, Travis, you tell me when you need to stop it all. Just like take a few on each of them. We love this guy.
That's so good. It's so good.
They did art for another card in Challenge 6.
Oh,
so
sick.
yeah.
Well, it's one of the ones we passed, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
This one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And go with Otherworldly Incantation. As much as it bothers me that you didn't capitalize the word incantation, yeah, fix that one next time, man.
This one is mad and disappointed. Not just, yeah.
I mean, it could just be a templating error. Maybe it's all one word.
Yeah.
I hope
Like
not.
Otherworldly Incantation.
Yeah. Oh, it's Otherworldly Incantation, yeah.
Yeah, like.
And this one's really well designed, apart from my minor complaint about searching your collection being a wide swath of cards, but it's kind of whatever. There is precedence for that in the Council's Coffer. Not that many people have experienced that, but we have
twice.
Did it do that?
Yeah, you search your collection. No,
you search your deck. You search your deck.
I think you search your deck. Yeah, like
I thought there was something to search your collection.
I don't think so. I can't recall any off the top of my head. Also, just so everyone knows, in number 7 and 8, we're actually going to have a slide where we're going to be able to put these on the screen so we can actually see just not my crown. So, yeah. I'm changing the format of these going forward. There are going to be more, so come and join us on the Discord and make more.
Yeah, this is like exactly the kind of card that I was hoping to see and hope to see them design with like big, powerful purple spells that have a real cost to them instead of just doing things. You see a lot in the earlier spells like Shriveling and even in the Azure Flame cycle where drawing the symbols has negative things happen to you, but they just don't do that anymore. Even I have Chaos Armageddon, or a nice deviation from that, where you get a benefit from drawing the curse, but drawing the curse itself is a negative.
Yeah.
So that kind of balances out. Then you have things like Spectral Razor and Read the Signs, which I love, but they are just all upside, and that's not very purple.
Yeah. Sick.
To me, anyway.
And then my crown goes to also the nipple piercing guy. I think the flavor of this one's really neat. I agree with what we talked about too, just like how like some tweaks could make it like even better. Like a limit 1 or exceptional, but stay at 2. But what I really like is that I'm really craving that like fist mystic, and I think this is a cool way of making that a possibility. And it being 2 experience, I agree. Probably better is if it was exceptional or something like that. But I like that you can also then try this out and go crazy and in some off-class people as well. So congratulations to 2 crowns for OT and 1 crown for Akanos, but that was my runner-up. I thought that one was really sweet. So.
My runner-up is actually the Forcible. I think that one.
Yeah, the Forcible one was also really sweet. Yeah.
Not just
Now,
for
if you
reference,
guys could create your own bear paws flavor, what would you make? Because
Dookie Dipey.
I can't imagine anything better than brownie flavors.
Oh, it already exists? Actually, what would I do? Oh, I don't even know, man. They probably I don't even know. What do I like? Okay, I gotta end this video. This is too much for me. Yeah. Thank you to everyone who took part in this. Again, there will be eventually on our Discord. I'm gonna talk about the ones that did not make it. I know I said in the channel that I was gonna include everyone's, but I was thinking about it like we can't talk for 2 hours about this. Unfortunately, we have other content we need to make. and New Spirit Island to play, to be honest. But I want to thank you all for making the cards you did, and if you want to join again, please do so down in the video description in our Discord channel. But in the meantime, have a good one. Thanks for watching, and as always, a GG's.